Hello and welcome, this is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more BattleTech and my continued look at the backer beta build and single player skirmish mode that is currently the only mode available. For this video, we're going to be continuing with my look at experimental or gimmicky builds, and the focus of this build is going to be a build that I've been wanting to readdress for some time, and that is a long-range focused or indirect fire focused build. So for my mech loadout, I start at the lightest with the Locust. This is going to be the variant with 2 LRM-5s. And most of the firepower, all of the mechs that I am utilizing are going to be focused on long-range missiles, both for their range, but also their capability of indirect fire. For my pilot, I'm using Witness, as the sensor lock ability is going to be very important to this build because it's going to allow me to establish line of sight when I normally wouldn't be able to get it. The next two mechs that I have are catapults. I think that these are extremely good mechs, even when you're not doing a build like this. Just well-rounded mechs, good armor, good firepower, both long range being your main focus with 2 LRM-15s, 1 in each arm, but you also have a backup of 4 medium lasers. You've got decent maneuverability, although your foot speed is not necessarily great. You do have jump jets to move you around the map. And your armor is pretty good for the type of mech that it is. This is a mech that's supposed to be a support mech, and yet it has pretty good armor as far as that is concerned. So I have 2 of those, and both of the pilots that I am utilizing, I am focusing mostly on gunnery skill here, but another thing that I am taking advantage of is precision strike. So precision strike is going to allow me, if I only fire one weapon, to remove cover or guarded statuses. So that can be pretty powerful for this lineup as well, and also give me an opportunity to cool down when I need to, only firing one weapon. Lastly, we have a variant of the Awesome, which is going to swap out the PPCs and instead use a couple LRM-15s and a couple large lasers as your backup. So most of these mechs do have backup firepower outside of the LRMs, but the main focus of the firepower is those LRMs, which we do have 2 LRM-15s here. Alright, the map I'm going to be using is the Alpine River. It's not a map that I often play, and I actually learned something about this map recently that I wasn't aware of, and it'd be nice to showcase that. So I'm going to be taking a look at that. For my opponent, I'm going to be using the heavy cavalry loadout, as this is not a loadout that I think I have faced off against all that much. I think only one time, and the one time I did face off against it, this loadout, the AI put up a decent fight, especially with these Griffins. These Griffins seem to be pretty tough, so I'd like to see this opponent again. And my opponent will have some long-range capability. The Victor is mostly going to be in close punching, or damage. The Griffins, on the other hand, and the Shadowhawk should all have LRM weapons. Now, I don't know if there's anything spectacular. Yeah, LRM-5. So they do have a little bit of long-range firepower with all their mechs. They may have AC-5s as well, or this particular variant has a large laser, but I believe isn't the normal variant of a Griffin have a PPC? Not the variant they're using, obviously, but yeah, the normal variant of a Griffin would use a PPC and an LRM-10. So usually speaking, Griffins are a little bit better long-range support than the mechs that are being used in this loadout. So that's why I was thinking that. But in any case, let's go ahead and get into the mission.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
Now, I don't know if this map, because it is an Arctic map, I don't know if you get any cooling benefits. It's not something that's displayed, and unfortunately, that's one thing about this game that is still lacking. The feedback when it comes to heat. Where the heat's coming from, the actual numerical values of the heat. Perhaps if I look at the actual bar, we'll see a tooltip, because that is something that I just recently noticed as well. If you hover up over the weapons when you have someone targeted, it actually gives you an idea through a tooltip what your chances to hit are. So perhaps I'll take a look at that with the heat bar to see if there is anything with that. So if we select Witness, for example, if I hover over the heat bar, do we get anything? Not that I can tell. So Hopefully that's functionality they'll add in at some point in the game, but right now, not here. Alright, so as far as strategy goes, I would like to keep my mechs out of line of sight, and keeping them in behind rocks is more or less the best way we can do that. Now this area here is like a rocky ridge as well. If they are down here, they won't be able to see me, but I think if they're up here on the hill, it might be able to see over it. So I don't know if I want to rush over there just yet. But the one thing that I wanted to point out on this map is there are spots where you have exposed lava, magma, whatever you want to call it. They're calling it a geothermal in this particular instance. So units within geothermal ground only sink 50% of their normal heat. So this is more or less the opposite of water, where water you're doubling your heat sink capacity or your effectiveness. With the geothermal, you are halving it. So I really wish that they would color these spots, just like you have cover is green and water is blue. I really wish that they would color these spots, because it's not really necessarily obvious which spots are geothermal and which ones aren't. I would assume that this spot here would be clear, but according to this, the pop-up is saying that we are indeed having that geothermal effect. So maybe some red indicators on the spaces would be good. Green for cover, blue for water, red for geothermal. That seems to make sense. So hopefully that's something that they can add into the game in the future. But I'm going to have to keep that in mind. That is something that tripped me up a little bit in another video, and I was kind of wondering, why am I not getting very good cooling here? And that's why, because I was standing on top of a geothermal and I wasn't paying close attention. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get in behind this rock. This is a fairly big map, so I don't know if we're going to get any sensor contact this first turn. As far as my catapults go, I think I'm going to spread them out a little bit, and I'll go up here. I just have to keep in mind that there is a geothermal over here and try not to be on top of it when we're engaging anyone. And I'm going to bring the catapult, probably bring them up in here into this area behind the rocks. There's another geothermal right there, too. These kind of little spots like that can kind of sneak up on you. When you're seeing a bunch of rocky terrain, you might overlook it. So you have to keep your eye out for it, because they're not right at this moment indicating it. Like right here, this spot here, I wouldn't think is part of this geothermal, but it is indeed according to this. So they'd really definitely need to color that so that we have a better idea of why we're getting certain heat effects. All right, so we'll go ahead and move here. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with the Awesome. The Awesome doesn't have particularly good foot speed. So if I go up here and then they rush me, I might be in trouble. So if I go here, I may be able to run that way, or maybe I go in the forest over here. I have a couple different options. We'll have to see. This may be a slower match because of just the nature of doing long-range combat. So this should be a good spot right here to post up. We'll get our sensor range up there. I don't know if we're going to get a contact immediately, but maybe at the end. Oh, there we go. We got a contact immediately. So I also did notice a bug in a previous playthrough where... Let's go ahead and stick in this cover here. I don't know if we'll block line of sight necessarily, but at this range, it probably doesn't matter. So, right there. It is going to be tough to actually get anything targeted here. But in any case, the bug that I noticed was when we got the first turn, it actually skipped over all my heavy mechs. That is one of the problems with this loadout in particular, is the fact that we have an initiative advantage with our light mech because they don't have a light mech, but then we have an initiative disadvantage with every other mech because we're at least heavy.
On my way.
And they have 3 medium mechs and an assault, so we're going to be going after most of their mechs have gone. Alright, and I'll stick the Awesome in here with the catapult so we can protect them. I'm not exactly sure where the AI is going to end up, but it's possible to come down here and then go this way and then end up over here. But if they see my catapult over here, they may reroute down this way and come up that way. So either way, we might get some action here. All right, so it's going to be the Witness going first. So what I was talking about is the bug. I got my light mech to go, the medium mechs went, and then it just skipped over everybody else and it started a new turn. It only did that on the first turn though, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. All right, in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and reserve. There's no reason to go yet. Because if we sensor lock the one guy that we could see, he could just back up and get out of my sensor range and break contact that way. Granted, I don't know if you can normally see sensor range of opponents, so that would be kind of a cheaty way to do it. I'm going to go ahead and reserve again so that we can get the best target. Probably it's going to be this guy up front, though. One thing that I have noticed, though, there has been a number of complaints I've seen on the forums of sensor lock being overpowered. Now, the AI does not use that ability yet, so it's kind of hard to say, but I kind of have been thinking it out, and it seems like there is a set defense to it. If you know your opponent has sensor lock, the best thing to do, rather than run, which is going to give you evasive and a movement bonus, instead move and then use the brace ability to give you guarded, which is going to make you more defensive. So if you have a loadout like what I have, I think that's the best way to defend yourself in those first closing turns. Right, at this point, we might as well move with Witness. We're going to go ahead and sensor lock the closest target. And in this case, he did run, so he's going to have no defenses for our attacks. So now we're going to go with Apex and see what our chances to hit him are. Fairly long range, so I don't think our chance is going to be particularly great here. He doesn't have any other attributes really affecting him. I don't think I'm going to be able to close range enough to get a better chance to hit. We'll just go ahead and fire both of our LRM-15s here. Not much in the way of heat being built up here. I'm just seeing if there's any statuses for being temperature-wise, but I don't see them. Let's go ahead and fire.
Roger that.
Now, the reason I bring that up is sensor lock is not going to be able to break guard. So what would have happened there is 50% of the damage would have been reduced, and any stability hits that he would have taken would have also been significantly reduced. All right, now it's going to be our other catapult, who is more than likely going to have a similar attack chance at this range. But there has been talks about rebalancing sensor lock, and I could see that definitely happening.
I'm gonna make some.
And I expect there to be balance changes before the game launches for sure. Okay, we did manage to knock him down, so that's quite good for us. Now their assault mech is going to go. That's actually a spectacular first turn for us. All right, let's see what kind of damage we've done to him so far. Not much in the way of armor damage, but as I said, the mechs that we're facing off against here are fairly durable.
Standing by.
Okay, so in this case, we're going to attack again. Our chance to hit is not particularly great. I'm hoping maybe we can move up a little bit and improve that. I'm not sure if that's something we can do or not. In this case, I might even move up. Ooh, we get line of sight there. I don't know if I really like that. It seems like, for whatever reason, our catapult had just a slightly better chance to hit. I don't want to establish line of sight, though, so I'm going to go ahead. Well, you know what? I say establish line of sight. That wouldn't establish line of sight for them, though, because they don't have the sensor lock. I'm going to go ahead with this line of sight establishing. Maybe it will help our chance to hit.
Move order received.
Now, one thing that I feel should possibly be added in is movement penalties to firing, because right now there's really no penalties to movement, and I think that it should work the way the tabletop game works. If you move, you're a harder target to hit, but your chance to hit is less. If you stay still, you're an easier target, but your chance to hit goes up. I think that that is a change that they may want to consider making. All right, our chance to hit did go up, but we are not in range of any of our other weapons. We do get to choose our target. I think we're just going to go with center torso, try and go for the quickest route to a kill, although with a cluster weapon like a missile, you're not going to get necessarily all your hits landing there, even if you do hit with some of it. See, as you can see, it spread out quite a bit there. That's just the nature of a missile weapon. It's kind of the price you pay for the fact... I mean, the spread is kind of an advantage in and of itself, but it's also a disadvantage when you really want to focus your fire. Alright, at this token, we might as well reserve again. We don't have line of sight of them, and they don't have line of sight of us. It's quite possible they're going to move this mech first, because he did go down, and that makes perfect sense to do so. And he's going to run this way. We just got line of sight established. This is bad. We don't actually want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to move to break line of sight. I believe moving over here will probably do it. Yeah, it looks like it. Then we're going to use sensor lock on the same Shadowhawk that we hit before. This way, the opponents can't use the line of sight that the Shadowhawk just gave, possibly, to the Locust, so we were not going to eat any missiles. Okay, let's go ahead and sensor lock, get our line of sight established. Because he's already moved, he can't take defensive measures against us. If we had done that sensor lock on somebody that hadn't moved yet, more than likely what the AI is going to do is they're going to do exactly the defense that I told you about, which is to guard to end the turn rather than, you know, not have any defenses whatsoever. Alright, so we're going to start with Apex here.
Standing by.
And we got an 80% chance to hit at this point. Pretty good. We're going to go ahead and fire both, as there is still no defensive bonus to this mech. If he had guarded instead, then I would have just fired one LRM-15, which would have halved my damage. And this was the pop-up I was talking about, so we can see indirect fire makes the shot harder to hit, regardless, which makes sense. Let's go ahead and fire. Pretty solid hits there. We made him unsteady, so even if he didn't have the sensor lock on him, he would... he would not have evasive. In this case, I think I'm going to use my jump jets. But I have to be careful not to jump on the geothermal. So this looks like an okay spot to jump right here. I am going to heat up more jumping, but the catapult should be able to handle that kind of heat. Now, yet again, jumping is the worst thing you can do for targeting in the tabletop game, because it makes you have an extremely hard chance to hit, but on the other hand, it makes you a very hard target to hit. So again, it's that trade-off. The harder of a target you make yourself to hit, the worse your chances to actually hit somebody is going to be. So as we can see, quite a bit of heat buildup here because we jumped this turn. I could just fire off one LRM-15, but I don't see there's a point in that. Let's just go ahead and fire both. And we did manage to knock him down, so we're going to be able to focus fire. Unfortunately for us, his center torso is still not taking a lot of damage. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and take Wildfire, put her back in behind cover.
I'm there.
Because they are closing in with me. We're going to have to start thinking about getting away from them, getting our distance. And do we go for the call shot to the center torso, or do we go for a call shot on the right torso, hoping to knock out weapon systems? Or maybe even the leg, hoping to take him out by killing both of his legs. Taking out both legs is kind of a tough thing. I'm going to go with the right torso. We might get center torso hits anyway, as we've already seen. Okay, we did manage to destroy one of the weapons by taking out the arm. Alright, we're back around. I think we're going to reserve twice yet again, as our light mech should be in a good position to avoid damage. Now I expect this mech to go first. Alright, fairly close to our locus at this point. I don't think it's that big of a deal to move back here with the locust and try and break line of sight as much as we can, and then get that sensor lock. Now in this case, I am kind of leaving myself out in the open if I move this way, but I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to round the corner next turn before they take advantage of that. Alternatively, I could move over this way and Oh, that's actually not a geothermal. Now, really, honestly, geothermal is not going to hurt me too bad if I don't fire any weapons. So, in that way, it doesn't really necessarily matter. So I am going to stand on the geothermal. Why not?
On my way.
So this is using a scout mech, more or less, I think, how the game is intending you to use them at the moment with the current balance. So yet again, he ran. So he's going to be a fairly easy target for my long-range fire. His friendly mechs are getting closer in behind, though, so... Okay. Now, he might actually be getting close enough that we're not going to get that great of a chance. Oh, no, we have a pretty good chance to hit here. I might want to consider moving away, though, just to kind of get started on that. So, I'll move like this. It's possible I'll make my chance to hit worse, but... Still 80%. As I said, no movement penalty, just the indirect fire penalty. I also have heard complaints that they feel like, people feel like the chances to hit are a little too high. I also agree with that. I think chances to hit should be much less than they are. Because 80% chance to hit should be, in normal games, pretty damn good. And we see here that we're more or less hitting every time. Now, I don't want the game to be too RNG based, but... maybe it should be a little bit harder to hit. Now, granted, if he kept his movement bonus when we use sensor lock, I mean, I understand getting rid of evasive, maybe, but the movement bonus, if he had kept that, it would have made him a harder target. There's a lot of things here that you could discuss with the balance changes. All right, I'm fine to stay where I am because I can always jump back next turn, so we'll go ahead and fire off both of our LRM-15s here. We've got a great chance to hit.
Oh, you want some of this?
Now we have to consider, though, how much ammo that we're eating up doing this. Get another knockdown. All right. Now Wildfire is going to move here.
Location confirmed.
Again, trying to get a little bit of distance going. I think I'm going to go for the center torso here again. Go for the kill if I can. Honestly, a head hit might even be a good idea at this point, because if we get head hits, we might kill the pilot. At this point, we've already knocked him down how many times? Yeah, let's go for a pilot kill with head hits.
Locked.
There's no guarantee that we'll get head hits. As a matter of fact, we got a fair number of center torso hits and no head hits. All right, we'll reserve one more time. I mean, we're whittling away at the same mech. This is exactly what you want to do in encounters like this, is just keep smacking the same mech over and over again. I'm not actually sure where the rest of their mechs are. Kind of lagging behind. Oh, finally they established line of sight. That's going to be a little bit problematic for us. But in this case... he didn't run, so there's no reason to sensor lock him. So I can do a number of things. I can attack with our Locust to focus fire on the Shadowhawk. I don't think it's likely we'll kill him with the Locust, so there's no real reason to do that just yet. So let's just go ahead and reserve. This is going to allow the enemy, though, to use that line of sight that they've established against our awesome. Like so.
That could have been worse.
Okay, so that's all their medium mechs gone. I still don't have any clue where they are. I mean, we don't even have sensor contacts with these guys. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and use our catapults here to attack the enemy that we can clearly see without a sensor lock. And then I'll decide off of that whether or not... oh, I don't have line of sight to myself. So we're going to have to back up a little bit. I'll use the reverse. Like so. Get a little bit of distance here. And we'll open up on this guy. Now, he's a little bit harder to hit, though, because of his own movement defense, because we're not eliminating that with our sensor lock. All right, let's go ahead and fire both of them.
Affirmative.
Okay, fairly heavily damaged. I'm hoping we'll take them out with our catapult.
What's up, Commander?
Okay, one more. Come on, go down. Oh, he got knocked down yet again. Oh, he has the guarded trait. I wasn't paying attention. Whoops. It looked like he was taking full damage, and I didn't see that before. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Yeah, in that case, I should have only fired one LRM-15, although it looked like, again, it looked like he was taking full damage. Well, we have a dilemma either way here. If I use the Locust to try and kill this guy, then my Awesome is not really going to have anything to do if he managed to pull that off. If I use the Awesome, it's probably a waste of firepower, but I think in this case, I am going to go ahead and reserve here.
I'll wait here for now.
Honestly, I don't think it matters. Okay, Wildfire has direct line of sight. Doesn't really need to move. So we'll go ahead and we'll use the large lasers here and not the LRM-15s. And we'll hit the center torso.
Copy that, Commander.
Down he goes.
That's a kill.
And see, that's kind of the difference between a weapon that focuses the damage and one that is spread all over the place. It's a lot easier to utilize that fire. All right, so Witness should probably just go in a way that is going to establish line of sight, like right about here. And then we'll get initiative, so next turn, we can just move the Locust right out. Okay, now we know where they are. I still don't know why they were lagging so far behind. All right, we're only in range to do the LRMs, so we're going to fire both of them. Do a little bit of damage. Okay, so in this case, we're definitely going to want to move
Waiting on you, Commander.
our Locust. And we're going to get in behind these rocks.
Moving to position.
And so that we don't waste our move, we're going to sensor lock the closest guy. Now, if the AI is smart here, they'll just move up. Well, if they want to fire, though... Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, that mech's going to get absolutely smacked with, with damage here. They are going to be able to fire their LRMs, though. Although, as we've seen, they don't really have that much in the way of long-range missile fire. So, not really their advantage to sit and trade like that. So, we're going to continue to dump in LRM-15s here. Okay, took a head hit. More than likely will fall down soon. Okay, Apex should be in a perfect position to hit this guy as well with both LRM-15s. We are dumping through our ammo quite quickly here. Okay, he's gonna go down. In this case, what we're gonna want to do with Wildfire, oh, their guy's still moving, is I think actually back up a little bit here. The reason I'm doing that is that's a geothermal, so we don't want to go there. The reason I'm doing that is to try and get a little bit more distance for our LRM-15s. We might not quite be able to get it, but... Oh, those are deselected. Let's see. There we go. That should be perfect. So, we're going to move right there. And then we're just going to empty everything we've got into this guy. We've got 90% chance to hit here. We're going to go right into the center torso and fire. That was a hell of a lot of damage there.
Critical hit.
Fortunately, I didn't manage to kill him, but might be able to finish him off here.
What can I do for you?
And this is what the geothermal graphic looks like, so that you know you're taking extra heat. We have a chance here. Let's go for it. I don't think we're going to do enough to kill him, but we can at least try. Unfortunately, we attacked from the side, so it was a little bit harder to get that center torso hit that we were looking for. Let's see what the Griffin does as a response. He was close to blowing up right next to his friend. All right, more or less just gave me his back. Not really gonna be a good day for him.
Oh, I'm wounded.
Did take a head hit there. More than likely gonna take some more LRM-5 damage. Which, again, the AI should be closing the distance more rather than trying to use their LRM-5s. Okay. Well, now it's going to be a little bit harder
Yes, Commander.
to get the damage I'm looking for. Got cover. I could just fire one weapon to ignore it. Alternatively, I could move. I don't actually want a side attack. I want a frontal attack if I can get it. So we'll move here. And I might just switch to medium lasers, as I might be too close. No, I'm not too close for the LRMs. All right, well, we're just going to open up on this guy with everything we've got. We can deal with the heat. Let's go ahead. This is a lot of firepower here. A lot of it missed, though. But boom, dead.
Mech destroyed.
That doesn't mean that some of our other mechs are not going to really have anything to do, because the enemy mechs are so far away. So Sumo is just going to use this turn to cool off.
No problem.
All right, here comes their Salt mech, who should have been here a long time ago. I don't know what the delay was. And I know it's not as fast as the Griffins and the Shadowhawks, but it shouldn't be that dramatic of a difference. Okay, so Wildfire, I'm going to move over into this cover. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did with Sumo. I'm just going to go ahead and brace. All right. Well, this combat went pretty well, but I think a lot of that is just we were able to focus fire on enemy mechs and take advantage of them. I think in this case, I'm going to move
Commander,
our Locust in here. We should still be in sensor range. I'll sensor lock the Victor, and because of the fact that our heavies are going to go before the Victor does, we'll be able to hit them with both of our catapults. Now, we should be running low on LRMs at this stage, though. Okay, now you're actually trying to move to engage. A little late for that. All right, so we'll start with Sumo.
I can do.
95% chance to hit. I am in danger, though, of him getting up here. Although I don't think he'd be going to be able to pull that off with what kind of movement he has. So let's go ahead and fire both of our LRM-15s here.
Target.
We only have 90 missiles left, and if you have to consider that each launcher is doing or using 15, so we only have really 2 more full salvos left. Okay, now for Apex.
Standing by.
Apex would probably move to break line of sight a little bit more, and then use the LRMs. Again, we're not having a lot of shots left. We only have 2 salvos with our LRM-15s at this stage. We've got a pretty good chance to hit. A lot of damage. And we knocked him down. Now, Wildfire should be a little bit better off as far as ammo, because we haven't... I don't think we've been firing as many LRMs there, but it's still... we've been using quite a few. Okay, where are you gonna go? Okay, you guarded. Unfortunately, Wildfire is the one
Standing by.
mech that actually can't do anything about that. But we're still going to hit you, as we have an 85% chance. I'm not really sure why the Victor didn't try and close with me. I mean, go guarded, yeah, sure, why not? But to move away, take damage, and really get nothing accomplished, I'm not really sure what that was about. Standing up is gonna steady him, so he didn't need to brace to re-steady him. I really don't know what the AI was up to with that. We're gonna go ahead and reserve here and just see what the enemy does. I expect the last remaining Griffin to come around here eventually. And that may be my target of attack. But I think we're just gonna reserve here and wait for the enemy to act, really. I mean, I could hit him again with the sensor lock, but he's still got guard, so that's not going to do me a lot of good unless we're only firing one LRM-15 at him, then we would ignore the guard. Let's just go ahead and reserve one more time. See what this guy's up to.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's another thing the AI doesn't use, really, yet, is they don't really use guard. Okay, it looks like the Victor's trying to flank here, which is interesting. Okay, I'm not exactly sure who has line of sight of him. I'm gonna guess it's, yeah, it's Witness. So we're gonna want to break that. But we'll use sensor lock here to reestablish. Okay, so sensor lock on you. And then with Sumo, we're going to jump away because he is getting awfully close. I guess we're going to jump over here, because if we jump here, we're line of sight, which I don't want. And because he has cover, I'm only going to fire one of the LRM-15s. So, remove the cover, fire. So we'll have few more of those to go. All right, and then Apex over here can do more or less the same thing. Although the range is going to be a little bit further, but I really don't want to move in though. So we're going to turn off one so that we can cool off a little bit, but also remove his cover. Made him unsteady. And then Wildfire has no real reason to hold back, and we have more ammo than our other two, so let's go ahead and fire both. He's going to reduce some of this damage, but we might take out his arm here. We're lucky, but not quite. Knock him down again. We'll have to see what he does in response to that. Might even be worth just sensor locking him again and then pouring fire into him before he can get up.
What can I do for you?
Because we do have the initiative advantage. I might have wanted to move away with Witness, but that's okay. On the other hand, the Griffin might have been a better target. I should have probably waited for him, because he just got evasive. Alright, well, we do have multi-fire with Wildfire down here, so we could use that if we wanted to. Okay, so Sumo
What can I do you for?
can fire a single weapon to ignore the cover. Yeah, and we'll go after the left torso so we can take out the left arm. What's in the left arm? 2 medium lasers. And we already, I think, took out the SRM-6. So we're going to go for the left torso and fire.
I got him.
We'll do the same thing with our other catapult. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to take it out. But hopefully our other catapult can do something for us. So I think I am going to move here. I'm going to try and move in a way that is going to break line of sight a little bit more with this Griffin. So the Griffin can only really attack the Awesome if it wants to. And our chance of hit is not going to be great here, but we're going to go after this left torso again.
Target confirmed.
This is going to be our last LRM-15 shot. So actually, I don't know why I moved the way I did. Okay, we didn't quite get it.
No long-range missiles remaining.
We'll have to see what the Victor does now. Might be able to get within range to attack Wildfire. We'll have to see. No, he just guarded. All right. I might utilize...
I'm receiving you.
For sure, I'm going to use Inspire here. Fire.
Mech
There we go.
warriors, show 'em what you got.
And then we're going to use multi-target. We're going to click on the Griffin. And we're going to deselect the large lasers for them. And then we'll make B the Victor. And we'll use... There we go. So that's how you use multi-target. So you select one target, that's your A. You select the other target, that's your B. And then you designate which of the weapons are going to be aimed at which target. So our large lasers are going to be hitting the Griffin, and the LRMs are going to be hitting the Victor. And because we inspired, we're going to be ignoring the evasive, which we can see blinking, and we're going to be ignoring the guard, which we also see blinking. So let's go ahead and fire these off.
Affirmative.
So first our large laser hits, and now our LRM-15s. Still haven't managed to take out that arm or the torso section. Kind of bumming me out. Alright, in this case, I think I'm going to go ahead and reserve. See what this Griffin's going to do. Not really a surprise going after Awesome. Which has taken decent damage at this point. Okay, I think we continue to sensor lock, though,
Commander.
the Victor, because we might be able to take him out, or at least reduce his weapons before he closes. Granted, I really can't, can I? Yeah, we're gonna reserve here.
Holding action, Commander.
And then we're gonna reserve again. So we can get the best idea what our opponent's gonna do. Which I suspect is get in range of the Awesome and do a lot of damage. Fortunately, our Awesome can take it to a certain extent. We did not establish line of sight to the Victor, unfortunately. Alright, let's start things off here. Sumo
What's up, Commander?
has direct line of sight, so
What can I do for you?
60%. What's the dealio with that? Is it too close? Target moved. Okay. We could sensor lock to make everybody else's chance to hit better, which I'm tempted to do, but on the other hand, we're wasting the firepower. I think we utilize the firepower rather than make the chance to hit better. Let's fire.
No sweat.
Okay. Now we're going to have Sumo go,
I can do.
who can't quite get in behind. That would be what I would prefer to do. Let's target. LRM-15 doesn't have a great chance to hit here, so I'm going to save it. We'll just fire the medium lasers.
Target marked.
And with Apex,
Awaiting orders.
we're out of LRM, so we have to get in here. Let's use our jump distance to try and get a little bit closer.
Engaging jump jet.
This is going to heat me up quite a bit, though, so I have to keep that in mind when I'm doing the firing here. I think I'm going to back off with one of the medium lasers, and we'll fire.
Engaging target.
We hit with a couple of those. I might just go up and punch this guy with Wildfire.
Standing by.
A lot of it depends on... Yeah, my LRM-15s are not particularly useful at this. Well, let's just see. Yeah, they're not particularly useful at this range. I think we go in for a punch. It's not really the idea behind this build. Oh, we're not anywhere near close enough to do that, huh? But we can get closer. Maybe even break line of sight a little bit with the Victor, so you can't really take advantage of me. Although we might give her back doing this to the Griffin. Well, if the Griffin takes our back, we'll have his back because our catapult's over here. Okay, let's go ahead and attack. We're gonna need both of our large lasers and fire.
Roger that. Target confirmed.
Okay, this Griffin's probably gonna stick around and be a target that we're gonna have to contend with, but
Waiting on you, Commander.
I am gonna empty more missiles into him before he gets to go. Let's see what he does. He's gonna try and take the back of the awesome. Nope, he's gonna come in for a punch. Well, I wanted to punch you, so thanks for coming close.
Damage minimal.
Okay. Sumo,
Commander.
you do not have a very good line of sight, unfortunately. I think we have Apex move, because Apex has a fantastic shot of the back of the enemy. And I am going to close here, even though it does put me at risk against the Victor. Move like that.
Move order confirmed.
We're going to dump some fire into this guy's back. Now, we don't have a lot of heat to use here, though. I'm going to fire the 3 medium lasers, even though this would overheat us. 4 would shut us down, so that would be a bad idea. But 3 we can do. We've got the back. Let's use it.
Firing at enemies.
Hey, that was good damage.
My mech's heating up.
Oh, I'm probably standing on geothermal. Gosh dang it. I forgot all about that. We are probably standing on it, aren't we? That's why our heat was bad. Damn it. It's easy to miss that, because you don't think you're standing on it, but you are. Oops, I definitely don't want to do that. Okay. So that was a whoopsies with that move. I want to move there. And I was a little bit surprised why we were overheating so much, and now I know the answer. Very easy thing to overlook. That's why they need to put red spaces on the map, in my opinion. All right, let's go fire. Okay, managed to get a head hit. Now their Victor's gonna go. This could hurt. Okay, going after the catapult. So we're definitely going to have to move with the catapult next turn because we're standing on top of geothermals. In this case, I'm just going to turn and punch. We don't have necessarily a great chance to hit with the melee, but we're going to try for it anyway. Boom. Heavy damage. Small laser. Okay. Now, Witness can attack pretty much anyone he wants. Let's go after the Victor. Might be able to knock him down with some combined fire. Okay, so he just guarded up. Let's go with Apex first.
Standing by.
I'm half tempted to punch him, but in this case, I'm just going to get in behind him. And we're going to open up with some more medium lasers here.
Moving to the
We'll be ignoring his defensive stance. We'll no longer be standing on geothermals. At least, I don't think we will be. Okay, if we fire 3 medium lasers, we will continue to take overheat damage. I think we're going to try and cool off a little bit here. Fire 2 medium lasers.
flank. Bringing the pain.
Ah. The miss hurts.
That's gonna hurt.
Okay. Now, Sumo here.
Yeah.
We're going to attack. Oh, I have to move to be able to see him, huh? Okay, so... I want the LRM-15s online so I can see their range. Okay, looks like we're perfect there. We're going to go after the Victor because the Victor is not in cover, so there should be a good chance to do a lot of damage here. I am going to turn off one medium laser just so we're not overheating for this turn. And let's fire what we got.
Oh, you want some of this?
I'm hoping we take out his arm finally. There we go. Boom. Did a lot of damage to center torso too, so we might be able to take him out if we're lucky. And he's gonna get to go first here. Going for a punch. Does he have enough movement? No, but he is gonna hit me with an AC-20. I'm really tempted to punch him at this point, because we might be able to take him out with that. 98% chance to punch him, and then we have got our smart laser. As much as I could kill the Griffin right now, I think he's a better target. Let's go ahead and engage.
Roger.
Okay, big damage there. We didn't hit the center torso, that's what... Ah, and dodged. He did have evasive going, so... We did make him lose that, though, by punching him.
I hear ya.
Okay, we're gonna attack him.
Commencing Alpha Strike.
Oh, I didn't know he had a direct line of sight. That's good. Alright, just a little bit more and we've got him. Ow!
Can't take many more hits like that.
What a jerk! Okay, Apex. What can you do for me? You might be able to empty more medium lasers. Let's just see what we've got as far as the heat. We can do it. Let's fire 4 medium lasers. That's going to be pretty good. I mean, I could run up and punch him too, but I think this is going to be nice for us. We might be able to take him out with this.
Target lock on enemy's rear.
Well, close.
Take that.
Okay, and then Sumo.
Something I can do?
In this case, we might actually lose the Locust because I wasn't really thinking clearly, but got a pretty good chance to hit here. I'm going to go ahead and go for it because center torso is almost taken out.
Piece of cake.
The Griffin has no firepower left. Boom, dead. Okay, so all we've got is the Victor, who's going to be going next.
You for me.
And if he's got direct line of sight to the Locust... Okay, he just kind of stood there and did nothing. Alright, well this is going to be another punch. Probably tried to steady himself, more or less. Boom, take out his other arm. Knocked him down again. Okay, well now this is just going to be a stomping.
Good to go.
I'm gonna move. Let's get in here. Let's do some damage here. We're gonna get up nice and close. Oh, actually, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Because we have mostly LRMs. Okay, center torso, fire.
Affirmative.
Boom. All right. Locust took out a Victor. So that went pretty well. Again, the whole geothermal thing tripped me up. So that's something you really have to watch out for on this map. Is it's very easy to overlook because it's not actually necessarily the spaces it looks like. So you really have to be looking for that pop-up before you move, which oftentimes when you're just trying to move quickly, you don't really look for that kind of stuff. So, all right, we made it out with all our mechs. That went pretty well. A little bit longer battle overall, but that's kind of the way that this kind of fighting works. When you're doing indirect fire, it's a little bit more of a lengthy process. You have to be strategic about it. Now, facing off against an actual player versus an AI, you're going to have to be a little bit more creative and use a lot more strategy to make this work, because your opponent's going to be doing everything they can to close the distance on you and try and remove the strength that you've got here. This is why this is a gimmicky build. I don't think going so one-dimensional is really a good idea. Usually I like to have some more well-roundedness. It's good to have mechs that can tank for you, to draw fire for you, so that your indirect fire mechs can get breathing room and be able to continue to unload fire and be safe. With this loadout, it's really hard to do that because you don't really have anything keeping your enemy off of you. So if they've got the mobility and the strategy to try and corner one of your support mechs, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. You can try and back up the best you can, and catapults are fairly good at that with their jump jets. But there's going to come a point where they're going to corner you and they're going to start smashing one of your support mechs, and there's not a whole lot you can do to draw your fire. The Awesome does an okay job at that, but I still think that the usual successful loadout is going to be only one support mech to a very well-rounded lance. But, you know, that's my own opinion. In any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.